Home prices are at an all-time high in many parts of the country. Can we expect this trend to continue into 2021? Stick around and I'll show you some numbers that may surprise you. And if you watch the end of my video, I'm going to set the record straight on the coming foreclosures. Hey everybody, Brad Myers here again with Fulton County Homes right here in Fulton County, Ohio. 20-year home inspector turned real estate agent with Harmony Realty Group. If you enjoyed my channel, please subscribe down below and hit the bell so you're notified of my videos that come out every week. In 2020, we see a steady increase in home values across the country. According to the National Association of Realtors, there has been a 15% increase in home values just in the last 12 months alone. So what exactly is it that's driving these home prices? And are we going to start to see something level off in the near future? Well, all markets are driven by two common factors, supply and demand. You have a neutral market when supply and demand are equal. However, if demand goes up, prices go up. If supply goes down, prices go up. But what we've seen in the last 6 months is demand has went up, supplies went down at the exact same time, and this has made home prices absolutely skyrocket. Let's take a look at what's driving this supply and demand and see if we can determine what home prices are going to look like in the next 12 months. So let's look at the demand side of it, why we have so much of it, and is it going to be sustainable for the next 12 to 24 months? Well, the demand in housing really increased when the feds dropped their interest rates to near zero. This is the rate that the government lends to big banks. And of course, in turn, big banks can lower their interest rates to us, the consumer. Now, the feds have stated they plan to keep these rates low clear to 2023. Personally, I don't think we can look with any kind of accuracy that far into the future. But if the feds do manage to keep their promise for at least the next 12 months, we can expect interest rates to stay pretty low and demand for housing to stay pretty high all through 2021. Now, there is another factor that could decrease the number of buyers in the market, and that's how well our economy does. If the economy does suffer over the next 12 months due to a national shutdown or some other repercussion of that, we could see unemployment rates go much higher, and of course this will impact the number of buyers in the market. However, we've already seen rates as high as 15%, and right now they're hovering right around 7%. And all through that range, we still seen a very high demand for housing, and prices absolutely went through the roof. And a big reason for this is, even though we've seen unemployment rates remain pretty high and a large pool of buyers that can't qualify for a mortgage, we've also seen a dramatic drop in the supply of houses in the market. We've seen a 20% decrease in the number of houses hitting the market over the last 12 months. So really what that means is, if we have a 20% decrease in homes available, we could have a 20% increase in unemployment rates and it would still even out. But the most we've seen so far is 15%. It could go up to 20% and still not have a major impact on home values. So in my opinion, I see home values staying consistently strong for at least the next 12 months. But on the flip side of that, let's look at the supply of homes in the market right now and see if we can determine what that's going to look like in the next 12 months. We've seen a dramatic drop in listings over the last 6 months, and there's 3 key reasons for this. According to this report from Zillow, 31% say financial uncertainty. Do I need to hang on to my money for the future? Is there something going to happen to my job? There's just a lot of financial uncertainty right now. 34% say life is just too uncertain right now, just life in general. What are the next few weeks going to bring? What are the next few months going to bring? What's going to happen with this stupid election? We don't even know who's going to be president in 2 months. And then finally, 25% say health concerns with COVID-19 is a big factor. They're thinking, do I really want dozens of people walking through my house, touching everything? And, what happens if I get sick? So let's analyze this fear a little bit. And, do we think it's going to last for the next 6 to 12 months? Well, personally, I think it's probably going to remain about the same. I understand we have a vaccine coming, but, experts are saying we might not have that vaccine till, summer of next year. And we've got 400 million people in this country. To get that vaccine out to everybody, or at least everybody that wants it, that's going to be a monumental task. So I think this fear and uncertainty is probably going to remain with us for, a majority of next year. So over the next 12 months, I think we're going to see things stay just about the same. Interest rates are going to remain pretty low. They may even drop a little bit lower. Some analysts are predicting, 1.9 to 2%. I've never even heard of anything being that low. And that's certainly going to drive demand up. And I think our supply is going to remain pretty low all through, at least through the summer of next year. And then finally, we've seen in all the headlines of this foreclosure crisis coming. Everybody's asking me, when are the foreclosures going to start coming in? And as I've said many times before, headlines do more to terrify than they do to clarify what's really going on in the market. Well, first we need to put things in perspective. What does a foreclosure crisis really look like? Looking at this graph, we can see the number of foreclosure filings by quarter going clear back to 1999. You can see highlighted in red the market crash of 2008 through 2011. You can see in the height of 2009, there were over 500,000 filings in the second quarter. And we see quarter after quarter at that 500,000 mark. This is what a foreclosure crisis really looks like. Now, if you look at this number, that's 206,000, that line I have across there, this is the average number of foreclosure filings going clear back to 1999. If you look at the most recent number available to us, we see that the second quarter of this year, we were at 23,900 filings. This number is significantly below the average and certainly is below the spike from 2009. Now, of course, this number is very low right now due to the moratorium on foreclosures, and we can certainly expect that number to go up as the moratorium is lifted. But keep in mind, this number would have to increase 8.5 times the current rate just to get up to the average of 206,000. And we would still be far below that spike from 2009. So yes, there are foreclosures coming, and none of us want to see that happen to anybody. But we can say with a degree of certainty that we are not heading for another crisis. The numbers just are not pointing that way. I think it's very important for us as real estate agents to keep things in perspective for our clients and keep a close eye on the facts and not spread fear across the entire country for something that probably is never going to happen.